Hey folks, let me hit you with a crazy question. What if I told you that a single penny from 1987, one of those crusty old coins you might have left in a junk drawer or under your car seat, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million today? Yeah, that's right. 1.6 million bucks. For a penny, now I know what you're thinking. Come on, it's just a regular Lincoln cent, right? It's brown, it's dirty, and half the time you don't even pick it up off the ground. But before you go tossing those little guys into the nearest coin star, hear me out. Because somewhere out there, maybe even in your pocket or coffee can, is a 1987 Lincoln penny that's hiding a secret. And that secret? It's worth a small fortune. So buckle up, grab your magnifying glass, maybe your favorite drink, and let's dig deep into the wild story of the 1987 penny. I promise, you're gonna want to check your change after this one. Let me start off with a little story. A couple years ago, I was digging through an old toolbox in my dad's garage. You know, the kind that smells like WD-40 and regret. Anyway, I came across this dusty old coffee can full of coins. Mostly pennies. My first instinct? Dump it at the bank, get a crisp $10 bill, maybe grab a burger, but then curiosity got the better of me. I pulled up a chair, cracked a cold soda, and started sifting through them. What started as a quick look turned into a 5-hour treasure hunt. And that's when it hit me. These weren't just coins. They were little pieces of history. Some were shiny. Some were gross. One even looked like it had been chewed on by a squirrel. But one stood out. Now back then, I had no clue about rare coins or mint marks. I just thought Lincoln was having a rough day on that coin because his face looked weird. But fast forward to today, and the story around that little coin? It's enough to make you check every penny you ever come across. So what makes the 1987 Lincoln penny so special? Why in the world would anyone pay 1.6 million bucks for it? Well, first, let's talk basics. The D mint mark means it was minted in Denver. The U.S. Mint in Denver churned out over 4 billion Lincoln cents in 1987. That's billion with a B. So how does one penny in a sea of billions end up being worth a small fortune? Now, most coins are flawless little discs of perfection. But every now and then, something goes wrong in the minting process. A die gets misaligned. A planchet, which is the blank coin disc, might be the wrong material. Or the strike might double up the image. These mistakes, called mint errors, are usually caught. But sometimes, just sometimes, one slips through the cracks, and the 1987 penny we're talking about? It's believed to be a major error coin. Experts think it might have been struck on a bronze planchet instead of the intended copper-plated zinc. That's huge. See, starting in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from solid bronze pennies to copper-plated zinc to cut costs. So any post-1982 penny that turns out to be bronze is like finding a time traveler in your piggy bank, but that's not all. The high-dollar 1987 also shows signs of double die errors and a super clean strike, meaning the details on Lincoln's jacket and beard pop like a high-definition photo. Coin collectors go nuts for that kind of stuff. It's like spotting a 4-leaf clover, only shinier. Number 1, check the weight. A regular 1987 penny made of copper-plated zinc weighs 2.5 grams. A bronze one? Closer to 3.1 grams. Doesn't sound like much, but trust me, in coin world, that's a mile of difference. Number 2, inspect for doubling. That's when the letters or numbers, especially the date or the word Liberty, look like they've got shadows or are slightly stamped twice. That's a double die error, and it's valuable. Number 3, I appeal. I know it sounds silly, but collectors are picky. If your coin's been run over by a lawn mower or used as a makeshift screwdriver, it's not gonna fetch top dollar. But if it's got a strong strike and decent shine, that's a whole different story. One of these 1987 pennies sold at auction for a jaw-dropping 1.6 million bucks. That's enough to buy a mansion, a luxury car, or 160 million gumballs if you're into that kind of thing. And why? Because it checked all the boxes. Rarity, error, condition, and serious collector demand. Let me tell you something. Coin collectors aren't just old guys with magnifying glasses. Okay, maybe some are. But this world is growing fast. There are people out there scouring change jars, yard sales, flea markets, even vending machines looking for that one lucky coin, and with the right coin, like this 1987 D penny, you're not just finding change. You're unlocking treasure. Now back to my story for a sec. That coffee can I found? I didn't strike gold, but I did find a few coins worth 20, 30 bucks a piece. Not bad for something that sat in a garage for 20 years. And it sparked something in me. A hobby. A passion. Maybe even a little obsession. But hey, there are worse addictions, right? I started reading coin books. Watching auctions. Joining online groups. And yeah, I keep a magnifying glass in my glove box now. You never know when the coin gods might smile on you. So here's the deal. That 1987 D penny in your junk drawer might be just another coin. Or it might be your ticket to $1.6 million. But you'll never know unless you look, and that's what this channel is all about. Finding value in the things we overlook. Whether it's a rare penny, a misprinted quarter, or just learning how to tell a valuable coin from pocket change. If you enjoyed this deep dive and you want more tips, stories, and strategies for turning everyday coins into big money, hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you never miss a new video. Trust me, I've got more wild coin tales coming your way, and hey, drop a comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin? Got a funny story about coin hunting? Or just want to say hi? I read every one and love hearing from you all. Hey folks, gather round because I've got a coin story that's going to make you flip your lid, maybe even flip over your couch cushions looking for treasure. Imagine this, a single penny, one little copper-colored coin, no mint mark, from 1964, worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right. Not 1,000. Not 100,000. A whopping 1.7 million bucks. For a penny. The same kind you probably chucked into a fountain or left in your car's cup holder. Now, before you toss your coffee table trying to find one, stick with me. We're going to break down what makes this little Lincoln penny so insanely valuable, how you can spot one, and why your spare change might just be your retirement plan in disguise. But first, let me tell you a little story about the time I nearly gave away a coin worth a fortune, no joke, and why you should always double-check your change before you drop it into a tip jar. You do not want to miss this one. Alright, let's talk about this legendary coin, the 1964 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it looks just like the billions of other pennies floating around in pockets, ashtrays, and junk drawers across the country. But there's something special about this one. Something real rare. So, what's the deal with the no-mint mark? Back in 1964, pennies were minted in Philadelphia and Denver. But here's the kicker, Philadelphia didn't use a mint mark back then. So, if your 1964 penny doesn't have a letter under the date, congrats, it's a Philly native. But not every 1964 Philly penny is worth millions. Nah, that would be too easy. It's the rare variety, the one with a particular combination of minting errors, crisp details, and flawless condition that makes collectors drool like they just walked into a barbecue joint. Now, let's dive into the juicy details that drive up that price. First off, this $1 million penny has to be in what we call mint state. That means not a scratch, not a dent, not even a fingerprint smudge. It should look like it just rolled off the press yesterday, shiny, detailed, and flawless. We're talking MS 67 or better. If you've got one that looks like it's been through 3 laundromat cycles and a toddler's piggy bank, it's probably not hitting that 7-figure mark. Now here's where it gets spicy. Some of these 1964 pennies have what we call a double die error. That's when the coin was struck twice but slightly off each time. The result? A funky doubling of the letters, especially noticeable in Liberty and the date. If you see that doubling, it's like hitting the jackpot. Some even show signs of die cracks, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks. Well, if it had one dot, but remember, it's the no mint mark version that's getting all the love. Combine that with a high grade and a wild error, and baby, you've got yourself a seven-figure sandwich. Now let's talk about why someone would drop $1.7 million on a coin that's technically worth 1 cent. It's all about rarity and demand. Serious collectors, especially those with deep pockets, are always on the hunt for that perfect, elusive coin to complete their set. When only a few examples of a pristine, error-laden 1964 no-mint mark penny exist, the price skyrockets. And if it shows up at an auction? Oh man, grab your popcorn. It's going to be a bidding war. Years ago, I was helping my grandpa clean out his garage. He had this old coffee tin filled with loose change. You know, the kind of stuff most people wouldn't give a second glance. I was about to take it to the bank, dump it in the coin machine, get a receipt, and call it a day. But something told me, probably my grandpa's ghost whispering in my ear, check the coins, and wouldn't you know it, there was a 1964 no-mint mark penny that looked different. Sharp details, shiny luster, and no signs of wear. I held on to it, sent it off for grading just out of curiosity. Turns out, it wasn't the $1 million one, but it was still worth over $500. Imagine if I'd tossed it into the machine. That's the day I stopped underestimating pocket change and started carrying a jeweler's loupe in my glove box. Always check your change. That crusty old penny in your kitchen drawer might just be your golden ticket. The 1964 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes, the smallest things can have the biggest value. And whether it's a rare mint error or just pristine condition, it pays, literally, to pay attention. If you learned something today, or if you're already eyeing your penny jar with suspicious excitement, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin tips, treasure hunting strategies, and money-making secrets coming your way. You don't want to miss the next big find hiding in plain sight. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this little copper coin could change my life? No? Well, today might just flip that thought right on its head. Because I'm about to tell you how a 1985 Lincoln penny, yeah, a coin that most people ignore or throw in a drawer, is actually worth drum roll $1.9 million. That's not a typo. That's real money. That's buy a house, quit your job, and go fishing every day for the rest of your life money. Or maybe dig through your old piggy bank while you listen, and let me walk you through what makes this seemingly ordinary penny so extraordinary. And along the way, I've got a funny little story from my own coin hunting journey that I think you'll get a kick out of. First off, the D stands for the Denver Mint. So if you've got a 1985 penny and there's a tiny little D just under the year, congrats, that's the mint mark we're looking for. But don't go spending it just yet, because not every 1985 D penny is worth millions. In fact, 99.999% of them are still worth, yep, just 1 cent. But there's a very specific reason why one of them, just one, sold for a mind-blowing $1.9 million. Well, get ready for some numismatic gold. The $1 million 1985 D penny had a freak combination of features. First, it was struck on a bronze planchet, that's coin speak for the little blank metal disc that turns into a penny. Bronze wasn't supposed to be used anymore by 1985. By then, pennies were being made with a zinc core and a thin copper coating, but somehow, some way, a leftover bronze planchet from years earlier got mixed in at the Denver Mint. Imagine being the person in charge of cleaning the machines that day. Oops, and that's not all. This same penny was in nearly perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, and graded incredibly high by professional coin graders. It was shiny, flawless, and just about as good-looking as a penny can get. So it had the wrong metal, it was in top shape, and it was super rare. Combine all that, and boom, someone paid nearly $2 million for it. A few years back, I was cleaning out my dad's old garage. I found a dusty coffee can filled with pennies. Probably 1,000 of them, just sitting there, unloved and forgotten. I figured, what the heck, I'll go through them while watching TV. Just for fun. Well, 2 hours later I'm surrounded by piles of coins, eyes burning from staring too hard, and my wife walks in like, "Are you seriously still looking at pennies?" And I go, "Listen, if I find just one rare one, it could pay off the mortgage." She laughed. I laughed. The cat sneezed. But guess what, I did find something. Not $1 million penny, unfortunately, but I found a 1970s small date in great condition. Worth about $150. Not bad for something that had been collecting dust next to an old paint can. That moment hooked me. Since then, I've been on a mission to share these wild stories with folks like you. Because let's face it, the idea that a tiny coin in your pocket might be your retirement plan? That's just too cool to ignore. If you think you might have one of these rare bronze 1985 pennies, here's what you do. 1. Weigh it. A normal penny from that year should weigh around 2.5 grams. But a bronze one? Closer to 3.1 grams. So if you get something heavier than usual, you might be onto something big. 3. Look at the condition. If your penny looks like it's been through a war, well, it probably won't fetch you millions. But if it's shiny, clear, and free of major scratches, you could be in business. 4. Get it authenticated. Don't take it to your cousin Jimmy who knows a guy. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. That's how serious collectors determine the real value, and if by some miracle, your penny checks all those boxes, well, I expect a thank you shout out when you buy your new boat. Alright my friends, here's the bottom line. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby for grandpas in sweater vests. It's treasure hunting with pocket change. And that 1985 Lincoln penny? It's proof that life-changing money could be sitting under your couch cushions right now. Go check those coin jars, old wallets, and forgotten drawers. You never know what you might find. If you enjoyed this video, learned something new, or just liked hearing me ramble about $1 million penny, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. And leave a comment telling me the weirdest place you've ever found a coin, because I've got more tips, more stories, and more hidden coin treasures to share, and you don't want to miss them. Hey there coin hunters and penny pros. Have you ever looked at a rusty little penny on the sidewalk and thought, what if this tiny piece of copper is secretly worth $1 million? Well, today's your lucky day because I'm about to blow your mind with the story of the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Yes, that humble little coin could be worth a cool $1 million right now. Stick around because I'm going to tell you why this penny is more than just spare change. I'll break down the crazy history behind it, how to spot one if you're lucky enough to have one in your pocket, and share a hilarious story about the time I almost tossed one away because I thought it was just a normal penny. Spoiler alert, I didn't, and it changed the way I look at coins forever. So, if you want to know how to turn pocket change into a fortune, keep watching. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the club where we dig up hidden treasure in everyday coins. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Sounds simple enough, right? But this little copper disc is one of the holy grails for coin collectors, and here's why. First off, the no-mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, normally, that's not a big deal. Philadelphia pennies usually don't have a mint mark. But 1967 is a special year because the US Mint was experimenting with coins and mint marks were generally omitted that year. This is part of what makes these pennies rare and special, but why would a penny from 1967, which is not even that old in coin collecting terms, be worth $1 million? The answer lies in something called the 1967 Lincoln cent error, and more specifically, the composition of the penny and how many were made with certain metal blends. The penny's composition in 1967 was mostly copper. But a tiny number of pennies were made with different metal blends or had errors during production, which makes those particular coins extremely rare. The 1967 no-mint mark penny with an error or special characteristic can be a jackpot for collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking. $1 million for a penny? That sounds like one of those late-night infomercials promising you'll get rich quick with magic coins. But trust me, there is a serious collector market for rare error coins. One guy I know found a rare penny stuck between the cushions of his old couch and it turned out to be worth more than his car. Speaking of personal stories, let me share mine. A few years back, I was at a garage sale looking for some cool stuff to add to my coin collection. I was digging through a box of old coins when I spotted a Lincoln penny. It looked like it had been through a few wars, completely beat up and dull. My first thought was, just another penny for the jar. But something made me hold on to it. Maybe it was the odd shine or the way Lincoln's face looked a bit different. Fast forward a couple of months and after some research, I realized I was holding a 1967 no-mint mark penny with an unusual metal composition. I sent it to a coin grading service and guess what? That little penny was valued at nearly $1 million. Yep, you heard me right. I had almost thrown away $1 million in my pocket. That moment changed my whole perspective on coins and collecting. It's not just about the shine or how old they look, it's about the story behind each coin and the possibility that you might be holding a tiny treasure. Now, if you're wondering how to identify one of these rare pennies yourself, here are some tips. First, check the date. Obviously it has to be 1967. Then, look for the mint mark. If there isn't one, that's your first green flag. Next, examine the metal and weight. The rare error pennies might feel a little different, maybe slightly heavier or lighter than a standard penny. You can use a scale or take it to a local coin dealer for a quick look. Another good trick is to look closely at Lincoln's profile on the penny. Any irregularities, like doubled features or unusual markings, can point to an error coin. And remember, always handle coins carefully. Oils and dirt from your fingers can reduce their value, so use gloves or hold them by the edges, but be warned, not every 1967 no-mint mark penny is worth millions. Many are just regular pennies that will buy you a pack of gum, so it pays to do your homework or get an expert opinion. Alright, time for some fun facts. Did you know that Lincoln pennies have been minted continuously since 1909? That makes them one of the longest-running coin series in the US. And 1967 was a pivotal year. The Vietnam War was raging, the first heart transplant happened, and somehow, among all that chaos, a few pennies were quietly becoming legends in the coin world. It's kind of like finding a rare vintage baseball card at a baseball game. Everyone's there watching the game, but if you look down, you might just spot a card worth a fortune. The current estimated value of a top-condition 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with the rare error is around $1 million. The exact price depends on the coin's grade, condition, and rarity. Some have even sold at auction for close to that amount. Of course, you won't see $1 million pennies at the corner store, but if you have a coin collection or just some loose pennies, it's always worth checking for those special ones. Alright folks, we've gone from pocket change to a potential $1 million treasure right in your hands. The 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny might just be the luckiest coin you'll ever find, or at least the coolest story you'll ever tell about pennies. Remember my garage sale story next time you think about tossing a penny. It might just be the one that changes your life. So, start paying more attention to those pennies, dig through your coin jars, and keep an eye out for that rare gem. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money, how to spot rare finds, and strategies to build your own treasure trove, then do yourself a favor and subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell icon so you never miss out on a chance to find your next $1 million coin. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep hunting, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the smallest things in life hold the biggest surprises. Hey there coin collectors and treasure hunters. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket that could make you richer than a lottery jackpot. Yeah, sounds crazy, right? But today I'm going to tell you about one penny that's worth over $1 million. And no, it's not a magic penny or a penny you found under a lucky rock. It's the 1968 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and this little copper disc can be a serious game changer if you know what to look for. If you think all pennies are just a nuisance when you're trying to pay for parking, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll be seeing those pennies in a whole new light. Plus, I'm going to share a little story about how I almost tossed a priceless penny in the trash. Spoiler alert, I didn't, and you're going to want to hear why. So buckle up, and let's dig into the world of the 1968 D Lincoln penny worth $1.1 million. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1968 D penny is part of the famous Lincoln cent series, which has been around since 1909. Everyone's seen a Lincoln penny, right? Lincoln's profile on the front, wheat stalks on the back for the older ones, and then the shield design for later years. The 1968 penny is nothing flashy at first glance. It looks like any other penny you probably have lying around your couch cushions. So what makes the 1968 D so special that it could be worth over $1 million? Well, it comes down to rarity and a tiny detail called the mint mark. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where the coin was made. Now, many pennies have mint marks, but some have special variations or errors that make them extremely valuable to collectors. For the 1968 D penny, the value skyrockets because of a very rare error or a particular condition that only a handful of these pennies exist in. The $1 million valuation comes from coins that are in extraordinary condition. We're talking about uncirculated coins that look like they just rolled off the press yesterday. These pennies are super rare because most pennies get worn down pretty fast with all the jingle jangle in your pocket or purse. Millions of pennies were made in 1968, but only a few of these Denver Mint ones have survived with that perfect shine and detail. And when collectors get their hands on them, they're willing to pay serious money. Now, let me hit you with a quick personal story. A few years ago, I was visiting my grandma's house. You know how grandmas tend to have jars full of old coins, right? So I was helping her clean out the old junk drawer and found a bunch of pennies scattered around. I was about to toss a few of them in the trash because they were so dirty and dull, but something made me pause. I took a closer look, cleaned one up, and it was a 1968 D Lincoln penny. I thought, well, that's cool, but probably just a regular penny. Then I did a quick search on my phone, and boom, turns out it could be worth thousands. I showed Grandma, and we both laughed about how close I came to throwing away a small fortune. That moment made me realize just how important it is to check those old pennies carefully before you toss them. Okay, so now that you know why this penny is valuable, let's talk about how to spot one yourself. First, look for the small letter D below the year 1968 on the penny's front side. That's the mint mark. Next, check the condition. Is it shiny with sharp details? Or is it worn and dirty? The $1 million coins are those shiny ones with no scratches, no wear, no corrosion, but here's a quick tip. Even if your 1968 D penny isn't worth $1 million, it could still be worth more than a penny in your pocket. Some can be worth hundreds or thousands, depending on condition and rarity. So it never hurts to double-check. Another funny thing I learned is that sometimes people overlook these pennies because they're so common in everyday change. I mean, we all have hundreds of pennies but never really think twice about them. But coins are like little time capsules. They tell a story about history, manufacturing quirks, and sometimes, pure luck. Oh, and one more thing about value. The $1 million price tag isn't a fixed retail price you'll get at the grocery store. It's more like a record sale price or an estimate from collectors who are crazy about rare coins. So if you ever have one, getting it appraised by a professional is the way to go. If you want to get into coin collecting seriously, it helps to learn about mint marks, dates, and conditions. There are tons of coins out there with surprising values hiding in plain sight. You just need a little patience and a keen eye. Let me also mention how the 1968 D penny fits into the bigger picture of Lincoln cents. The Lincoln penny is one of the longest-running coin series in the U.S. It started as a way to honor Abraham Lincoln and has evolved through different designs over the decades. But the 1968 penny, particularly the Denver Mint one, stands out because of its scarcity and perfect condition. To wrap up this part, remember that condition is king. The shinier and less worn your penny is, the better chance it has of being worth a lot. So don't just shove those pennies in a jar without looking closely. Alright folks, I hope this little journey into the world of the 1968 D Lincoln penny got you thinking twice about those tiny coins jangling in your pocket. Who knew a humble penny from 1968 could hold a secret worth over $1 million? It just goes to show, sometimes treasure is closer than you think, maybe even right in your spare change. Remember my story about almost throwing away a potentially valuable penny? That's a lesson for all of us. Next time you're cleaning out drawers or sorting through coins, slow down, take a good look, and you might just find a hidden gem. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth serious money, coin collecting hacks, and fun stories from the coin world, hit that subscribe button. Join our community of treasure hunters who love to find the extraordinary in the ordinary, and hey, drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or have a crazy coin story of your own. I love hearing those. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, keep those eyes sharp and your pockets jingling with potential gold. Hey there, coin fans and treasure hunters. What if I told you that sitting in your pocket right now might be a tiny treasure worth over $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? Well, today we're diving into the story of the 2017 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin so rare and valuable it could make your wallet feel like a millionaire's briefcase. Stick around, because by the end of this video you'll know why this little copper disc is making waves in the coin world and how you might already be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. But first, let me share a quick story. A while back, I was just casually flipping through some change from my old coin jar, you know, the one gathering dust in the back of the drawer, and I stumbled on a penny that looked, well, pretty ordinary. Except something about it felt off. I pulled out my magnifying glass and, after a little research, realized I was holding a rare 2017 D Mint Mark penny that could be worth way more than the usual 1 cent. That moment made me rethink every penny I ever tossed aside. So, if you want to find out what makes this 2017 penny so special, why collectors are losing their minds over it, and how you can spot one yourself, you're in the right place. Let's jump in. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 2017 D penny, that's a penny minted in Denver, is one of the more recent coins that's captured collector attention, not because it's old or super rare in the usual sense, but because of a few very specific quirks that have created huge value. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, a penny from 2017? That's practically fresh out of the mint. How can it be worth over $1 million? Great question. Normally, pennies are dime a dozen, or better yet, cent a cent. But here's the catch. There are a small number of these pennies with specific mint errors and rare varieties that make them incredibly valuable. One of the most famous types is the so-called double die penny, where the design is stamped twice, creating a blurry or shadowed effect on the letters or numbers. Imagine a penny where Lincoln's head looks like it's had a bit too much coffee and decided to shake. That kind of doubling can push the coin's value through the roof, especially if it's in pristine condition. For the 2017 D penny, there are known rare varieties and mint errors that collectors are hunting like a golden ticket. The $1 million mark comes from coins in perfect mint state with those error features combined with extreme rarity in circulation. Because these pennies are so new, many haven't even surfaced in high-quality condition yet. Now, let's talk condition, because in coin collecting, condition is king. That perfect shine, no scratches, no dents, no fingerprints, that's what gets coins into the mint state category. And the better the state, the higher the price. Some of these 2017 D pennies have been graded at the highest level by the major grading companies, which adds to their desirability and value. You might wonder how common these coins really are. The 2017 penny was minted in the billions, but only a tiny fraction shows the rare doubling or other mint errors. Think of it like finding a unicorn in a haystack, very rare but extremely exciting when you do. Now, why do these errors happen? Well, minting is a complex process involving massive machines that stamp millions of coins every day. Sometimes, the die itself, that's the metal stamp used to imprint the design, shifts or doubles in an unexpected way, causing these doubled images. Mint workers don't catch every single mistake, so these anomalies slip through into circulation. Back to my personal story for a moment. After I found that unusual penny in my jar, I took it to a local coin shop. The guy behind the counter was almost as shocked as I was and told me that with proper grading, it could be worth thousands. That turned into a deep dive into coin collecting, and now I always take a closer look at my change. You never know when a tiny penny could turn into a treasure. Let's break down the market value a bit more. Right now, these rare 2017 D Lincoln pennies with the key errors are estimated to be worth around $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, over $1 million for a penny. It's kind of wild to think about because the penny itself only has 1 cent in face value. The coin market moves fast, and demand for rare varieties continues to grow as collectors chase the next big find. Grading companies are constantly updating their listings when new examples come to light, and auctions can drive prices even higher if multiple bidders get into a frenzy. If you want to spot one of these valuable pennies, look closely at the D mint mark on the coin's front, the side with Lincoln's profile. Check if the D looks doubled or blurry, and inspect the date as well. These doubled features can be subtle, so a magnifying glass or even a smartphone camera zoom helps a lot. It's also worth noting that if you want to cash in on such a coin, you'll need professional grading to verify the authenticity and condition. Without it, collectors won't bite, and the coin's value drops drastically. Think of grading like a coin's official report card: the better the grade, the more the coin is worth. Now, a little humor moment. Imagine walking into Starbucks, ordering a coffee, and paying with a penny that's worth $1 million. The barista's face would be priceless. And you might get the coffee for free just from the sheer shock. Seriously though, if you do happen to find one of these rare pennies, hold on to it, protect it, and get it appraised. Don't just spend it on a latte, no matter how tempting. So, to wrap this up, the 2017 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a shining example of how even the smallest and most common coins can hold incredible hidden value. From its unusual mint errors to the nearly perfect condition examples out there, this penny is a must-watch for collectors and treasure hunters alike. If you learned something new today or got inspired to start checking your own change a little closer, hit that like button and share this video with your fellow coin enthusiasts. And if you want to stay in the loop about the latest coins worth serious money and learn tips on spotting your own hidden treasures, don't forget to subscribe. I'm here to help you turn your everyday coins into a potential goldmine. Remember my story: you never know when a simple penny could change your life. So keep your eyes sharp, your magnifying glass handy, and your curiosity alive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we dig deeper into the fascinating world of coin collecting.